Welcome back, artistic ladies and gentlemen, to another episode in this PTCGO series. Today Swalot is going to take the spotlight. Swalot from the Phantom Forces expansion. This is actually the one and only Swalot printed in the standard format. So I didn't really have much choice as to which Swalot I was going to build a deck around. One question I'm going to answer straight away, and that is, why did I build a deck based around Swalot? And the answer to that is straightforward. One of my long-time subscribers, one of my oldest subscribers, is called The Blue Swalot. He's a huge Swalot fan, and he has asked me to build a deck based around Swalot. He's been my subscriber ever since I started my channel, basically ever since I started it, I think. Even before I started making PTCGO videos. So this video is inspired by his request, is also for the Swalot fans among you and for the people who like a silly deck idea once in a while. If you want to skip to certain parts of this video, use the timestamps on the left hand side of the screen or click the timestamps in the description. Let's then take a look at the hand that we have been dealt. We have a Swalot with a poison gas hitting for 30, poisoning our opponent in a process for a psychic and a colorless energy. We can also swallow up our opponent's Pokemon for 50 damage and then do 50 more to it if our opponent's Pokemon has less hit points than our Swalot. Does take a DCE and a psychic energy. Our Swalot has 110 hit points, so we are only hitting for 100 damage with the swallow up. When our opponent's active Pokemon has 1 hit points or 100 hit points or less, meaning that we hit for the knockout with our swallow up when that is the case. And let's sit back a little bit here and take a better look at the card. We can already tell that we will need 2 energy attachments regardless of the attack that we use, and we also need to evolve from Gulpin into Swalot. This makes this card a little bit slow. So usually we will be a bit behind at the start of the game, and that means we need to try to find some ways to catch up with our opponent and make the price trade fair for us. You could play Dimension Valleys to attack for 1 energy, 1 psychic energy for the poison gas, but I don't play Dimension Valley in this deck. Instead, I play Training Center, 3 copies of Training Center, to give our Swalot 30 more hit points, bringing our hit points up to a total of 140 HP. And the reason I play the Training Center is because we are going to be targeting our opponent's Shaymin. I have 2 Lysandres, that's not a Lysandre, I have 2 Lysandres in this deck to Lysandre out our opponent's Shaymin. I play Shaymin myself for setup, for draw support, because we have quite a bit of setup to do, and you will see later on why. But we are going to target our opponent's Shaymin and try to hit for 100 damage on them with the swallow up. Without the stadium, Shaymin has as many hit points as a Swalot, so we would only hit for 50, but with the stadium, or with the stadium in play, we actually hit for 100 damage. Then add to that poison damage from the Ariados, the Poisonous Nest ability from Ariados, that is 10 extra damage. 10 plus 100 is 110 damage with the swallow up on the Shaymin, as long as we have the Training Center in play, and that is exactly a 1-hit KO. 2 very easy prizes for us to take with Swalot here. So that is one way we are going to try to make the price trade a little bit fairer. Ariados is also going to be very useful against EX heavy decks. EXs typically have 170 hit points or more. We only have 140 with our Training Center, and that means we need to put some damage on them to bring them down to 130 or less, and the poison damage is going to help us with that. Now, just the Ariados by itself is not gonna do the trick, because while we put poison damage on them with Ariados or with our poison gas, our opponent can actually damage the Swalot in the process, bringing down its hit points and making it tough for us to hit for 100 damage with the swallow up. And that's why I'll also include Hypno in this deck. Hypno with the Goodnight Babies. Once during our turn, we may leave both active Pokemon asleep, and then we are going to cross our fingers that our opponent's active EX stays asleep, so that we can accumulate some damage counters on it and then hit for 100 damage with the swallow up in the next turn, or as soon as we have brought down our opponent's hit points sufficiently. One question you might find yourself asking, if we use the Poisonous Nest as well as the Hypno, don't I put my Swalot to sleep, and do I not poison my Swalot in a process? And you are completely correct, I do indeed, but I run Sparkling Robe, the tool card of choice, which prevents our Swalot from being affected by any special conditions. And that means if our Swalot has this Sparkling Robe attached, we cannot be put to sleep, we cannot be poisoned, but we can also not be burned if we ever see any burn. I don't think there's actually any card in the standard format that can do that. We can also not be confused, we always stay active and ready to attack with our Swallow Up. So this is going to be a very important card for us. I run Eco Arm to shuffle back these Sparkling Robes in our deck if we had to discard them with our Sycamore, for example, or if our Swallows got knocked out. Then the Sparkling Robes would be discarded, put in the discard pile, and then we can shuffle them back with the Eco Arm. Finally, let's have a look at the last two Pokemon in this deck that I haven't talked about. The first one is Jynx with the Victory Kiss ability, allowing us to heal 10 damage from our active Pokemon once during our turn. Jynx has a bit of a double functionality. We are going to use it when we cannot find a Sparkling Robe for our Swalot, and when we need to use the Poisonous Nest here from the Ariados to knock out a Shaymin. We are then going to poison our Swalot to get that 1-hit go, and in the next turn we can heal some of that poison damage off with our Jynx. Another functionality is when our Swalot got attacked by the opponent's active Pokemon, we can heal off some of that damage, and hopefully that will be enough to bring our Swalot back up to the crucial amount of hit points where we can hit for 100 damage. What is also going to help us to do that is Olympia. Olympia is one of these switching cards which you don't see played very often, but I think it has a great use case in this deck. It allows us to switch our Swalot onto the bench, and at the same time we can heal 30 damage from it. So if we have a damaged Swalot in the active spot, we can use Olympia to switch it into a fresh Swalot from our bench, put that fresh Swalot in the active spot, and put the damage on the bench, heal 30 from it, and then we can attack for a Swallow Up for 100 damage hopefully with our fresh Swalot. I do run fair amounts of energies, well actually not too many, just 9 energies to power up our Swalots, 4 Psychic energies, 1 Mystery energy also to give some flexibility with retreating, because Swalot has a 3 retreat cost, which is pretty heavy. The Hypno has a 2 retreat cost as well, so we could use the Mystery energy to retreat Hypno if our opponent tries to stall by Lysandring it out. Then for DCE very needed for the Swalot as well as for the Shaymin. And also for this Espeon-EX. Espeon-EX is the last Pokemon I have not discussed yet. Espeon has the Psyshock attack, hits for 70, and this attack's damage is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Espeon is going to be the Glaceon counter for this deck, because our only attacker is a stage 1. So if we face Glaceon, Glaceon will actually prevent us from doing any damage with our Swalot, and that is where Espeon is going to come in. Espeon is also going to be used against evolution decks like Garchomp for its miraculous Shine attack, which allows us to devolve our opponent's Garchomps, and if he evolved with rare candies, that would put my opponent in a pretty bad spot, because we can very easily deal with the Gibbles that the Garchomps were devolved into with our Swalot here. And I think that's the most important part of this deck covered. We do have 2N for some more draw support in addition to the Sycamores. 1 Brigette to help us get out our basic Pokemon onto our bench, because we have quite a few basic Pokemon to get out. We want to get out at least 1 Gulpin and at least 1 Spinarak in our first turn. Ideally also a Drowzee, although the Hypno line is a little less important than the Ariados line. So if we get it out in the second or third turn, that is okay as well still. Level Balls are going to help us get out our basic Pokemon. Same for the Ultra Ball in addition to the Brigette. Actually the Level Balls are going to be more important than the Brigette, because we can use them together with a supporter in the same turn. And then 3 Trainers Mail to search out our Level Balls, but also to search out a Startling Megaphone for cases where our opponent plays Fighting Fury Belt on his EXs. Fighting Fury Belt is a card that we don't want to see, because that gives our opponent too many hit points for our Swalot to deal with, so we want to get rid of the Fighting Fury Belts. Then 2 Super Rods to shuffle back some energies, some basic Psychic energies, as well as some Ariados if they were knocked out, if they were targeted by our opponent, as well as our Swalot, of course. And finally 1 Escape Rope, the last switching card. So we have an Escape Rope to switch, we have a Mystery Energy to switch, and we have a Olympia to switch. That should give us enough switching support in this deck, and that is going to be it for the deck analysis. Leave a like if you enjoy the upcoming battles and subscribe to my channel for more silly deck ideas like this one, and I'll see you in the battles in a moment. Trick Shot is going to be our first contender of the day with a Colorless, Psychic and a Lightning deck. Place your bets now as to which deck it is, because I've got a faint, very vague idea of which deck this might be. Oh yeah, we get to go first. This is definitely then what I have in mind. This is definitely what I'm thinking of. And let's see. Do we start with the Espeon-EX? No, very easy target. Let's start with the Jynx. We are not going to bench the Espeon-EX, I think. The Jynx is probably going to be cannon fodder. It's going to have to go down, or it's going to go down very quickly, I think. Might just be in the next turn here, in my opponent's first turn. If this is indeed Night March, that is indeed what I was thinking of, and I believe that's what we are facing, that's what we are up against. What does my opponent start off with? Is it going to be a Joltik or Pumpkaboo or a Mew? And it is a Mew, yeah. This is Night March, there is no doubt about it. And let's see, we shall discard our Espeon and probably our Training Center. Training Center is not going to be very useful. Well, no, I'm gonna keep it to counter the Stadium. Let's discard the Swalot or Energy. Swalot or Energy. Let's discard the Swalot. We can always get it back with some Super Rod. Then let's get out a Shaymin. We have 2 Shaymin in a deck. I think I will have to discard this Energy and the Via Seeker. Just so I can draw into some more cards. Get out a Gulpin with this Ultra Ball. We have 4 Gulpin, 2 more Swalots, 1 Drowzee, no Hypno it seems. Yeah, we have the Hypno, we have the complete line there. The Hypno could definitely help us out here, try to put the Night Marcher to sleep. So let's bench the Gulpin. Let's also bench our Stadium straight away so we can draw into as many cards with this Shaymin as we can. That is why I used my 2 Ultra Balls right away there. Wow, this is actually pretty good. Drowzee, Spinarak, and we miss out on a draw supporter though, so that's unfortunate. Let's bridge it for another Gulpin, and unfortunately we don't get any energies either. Okay, so then we will just end our turn, see what our opponent does. And yeah, semi good start, semi bad start. Against Night March, I think we have been too slow. We needed that energy attachment if we wanted to stand a chance, and I think we don't really stand a chance anyways with this deck. We are just too slow against Night March. The Trainers Mail, if anyone can make this Swallow deck so in such a way that it can consistently win against Night March, I will give you a deep bow and huge respect, because I think there is no way to do that. Swalot is just too slow compared to Night March. I don't think there's any way to make it so that you can use it and win consistently against Night March, at least not in the current format, at least not with the current cards from the current sets. You never know what might be released later on. With the Karen supporter, for example, the Karen that that PokeBeach posted, Karen is a supporter that makes myself and my opponent shuffle back all basic Pokemon into our deck, which is Night March, which is against Night March, is very powerful. Night Marchers don't want to shuffle back any basic Pokemons. They want their basic Pokemons to stay in a discard pile so they can hit for a ton of damage. My opponent powered up the Joltik, which I don't know why. Why did he not go with the Mew? I'm not sure. Because we can one-hit KO the Joltik as long as he doesn't find a Fighting Fury Belt. Never mind, there's a Fighting Fury Belt. Herp-a-derp. Alright, and we will see a Night March for the knockout. Oh wait. What? Oh, I wasn't paying attention there. He only discarded a Lampent. Wow, I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. Do I counter the Stadium? Oh man. So sad that we don't have a supporter. We will just have to pass the turn here. Yeah. I am not going to counter the Stadium just yet. I cannot believe that we missed out on a knockout on against Night March. just because we couldn't get a draw supporter. We had such a great opportunity there. Such a great opportunity. I tried to draw into as many cards with my Shaymin as I could, and it didn't help at all. We didn't get anything for our next turn. How painful is that? What is my opponent going to do now? He should be able to pull something off here. He should be able to discard some more Pokemons. If not, I wonder how my opponent built his Night March deck. We already see an AZ and it doesn't do anything. I don't understand. What do we get? Another Sparkling Robe. We don't want to see any Sparkling Robes. Let's just end our turn. How unfortunate is this? I cannot believe what's happening here. We have been given one of the greatest opportunities against Night March and we can simply not make use of it. Because we top deck the Sparkling Robe, the card that is so important in his deck, but that we don't need whatsoever right now at the start. We don't need it. And a Night March for the knockout. Well, I'm going to promote my Gulpin. I have to promote my Gulpin. And we have to top deck something here. If we don't top deck anything, I don't know what we are going to do. We have a Lysandre. Let's Lysandre out the Shaymin. And pass our turn once more. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy indeed. Battle Compressor from my opponent, that took him long enough. I don't know what can he have in his hands right now. I don't understand how he cannot do anything here. Does he have so many Night Marches in his hand? But no, he discards Lampants, so he doesn't have any Lampants in his hand. There's another Battle Compressor. He had those Battle Compressors in hand all that time. He can only top deck one card, so he at least had one more Battle Compressor. I don't understand why he did not use that Battle Compressor before. Sky Return is going to promote the Joltik. Actually the Mew. Mew is indeed the better choice. And finally we get something. Let's see what we can do here. Let's attach the Sparkling Robes. Let's counter the Stadium. And then let's use our Super Rod because we are going to Sycamore it away anyways. So let's shuffle back these into our deck. And then let's Sycamore. We need an energy and a Swalot. That is what we need. There is an energy, but no Swalot. Can we get a Swalot from this Trainer's Mail? And we get another really bad hand actually. We get an Olympia. I need to go with the N. This is another very, very bad hand. So many bad hands. Unbelievable. Well, I'm actually not going to attack. Or should I attack? Should I poison? Oh well, no, I'm just gonna power up the benched Gulpin. Maybe just attach a Mystery Energy and retreat into the Spinarak. Yeah, I'm gonna retreat into the Spinarak, let the Spinarak get knocked out. And we shall end our turn. Bad hand after bad hand against this Night March deck, which we should have been able to deal with by now. We should have been able to knock out 3 Pokemon. But we just couldn't get going. Nor couldn't my opponents for some reason. Well, he has 7 Night Marches in the discard pile right now. There is a Pumpkaboo. We shall counter the Stadium one more final time in the next turn. Is my opponent going to hit with the Pumpkaboo? I think. Oh no, he's not. He's just going to hit with the Joltik. I don't know why he plays Mew if he keeps attacking with his Night Marchers. I'm not sure what Mew is doing there then. So we shall promote our Gulpin and then we shall go for an N here. And my opponent down to 4 cards. There is another Gulpin. I'm not going to attach an energy right now. Let's counter that Stadium. Let's attach our last Escape Rope. Should I attach an energy? Well, actually I should. I should attach an energy. Should not risk it. Should not wait for the DCE. What do we get? We get the Swalot. Ariados. I don't want the Ariados. I want to get the Hypno. I want to get the Hypno. So I'm going to Ultra Ball, discard the Sycamore and the Ariados. I want to keep the N because my opponent is likely going to knock us out. We shall get out the Hypno. Hopefully we can put this Joltik to sleep and hopefully it stays asleep. And that's our only hope right now. So let's good night baby, sing our lullaby. and hit for the poison gas against his Joltik for 30 plus 10 from poison. And then flip of the coin, and it's heads. Never mind. We will get knocked out. That is it then. That is GG. There is no way we are going to take this game then. I think I'm going to promote my Shaymin. Knock out this Joltik with my Shaymin. Puzzle of time. If you can get a DCE at the very least. We are down to 22 cards. We haven't seen a single DCE. There is a puzzle of time. What is my opponent going to do with the puzzle of time? Who knows? Who knows? He might use 2 and he's going to get back a counter stadium and an AZ. Not sure why he's grabbing the AZ. He has nothing on his bench to AZ up really. What? He AZs up the Joltik? Are you kidding me? I don't understand my opponent's plays. He should have just let that Joltik go down. There's no reason he should have discarded that DCE for saving the Joltik. I'm not sure if my opponent knows or if he played Night March before, but I don't think that was a very good play from my opponent. So we are going to promote another Gulpin and attach an energy to it, see what we can do. We get an Olympia, that's nothing useful. Let's end our opponent down to 3 cards and give ourselves 6 cards. A Level Ball. Huh. I could Level Ball, but should I Level Ball? Maybe I should. Let's just Level Ball. Let's see what we can get out. Spinarak, let's get a Spinarak. Let's get that Spinarak going, and then we shall good night babies, and hopefully our opponent stays asleep this time. We know he has the AZ, so he can AZ up that Pumpkaboo. But then he would have to discard that DCE once more. Do I bench the Jynx? I will bench the Jynx, I think. And we shall end our turn. Oh, we can actually attack for the Poison Gas because of the Dimension Valley, which is good. And it's definitely good for us. And he stays asleep, yes. We will knock out this Pumpkaboo then, unless he AZs it up. He has 3 more VS Seekers, so he can definitely go for the AZ and play the AZ this turn. I'm not sure, still not sure why he played it last turn. Does he have a DCE? No, he has a Sycamore. Oh, I wish I had a VS Seeker for another end now. And my opponent back down. 3 prizes left. Puzzle of time. Lightning energy. Okay, and an Ultra Ball. He has 2 puzzles of time in the discard, so he can currently not use his puzzles. Can we stall long enough so that he cannot use his puzzles? That's the question here. Ultra Ball is going to discard Joltik and the Hexmaniac, I think, or was it the Judge? It was Hexmaniac. And Shaymin for 4 cards. He is digging for a switch maybe, because he cannot use his AZ anymore. So switch will have to do here if my opponent wants to retreat this Pumpkaboo. Battle Compressor is going to thin out his deck even more. Can we finally take a prize this turn? Maybe he's digging for DCEs as well. We know he has 2 more DCEs in the deck. Discards another Sycamore and an Ultra Ball. That's 2 Sycamores in the discard pile. He should have 2 more as well. VS Seeker for a Lysandre. Lysandre, he's going to Lysandre our Shaymin, isn't he? He is going to Lysandre our Shaymin, I think. Let's see, we could switch here, or we could just simply Lysandre out my opponent's Shaymin, but then that would get rid of the poison. I might just have to switch. I might just have to use my Olympia. I don't want my Swalot to go down. He's my only attacker. I might have to promote the Jynx. Yeah, I'm going to Olympia here. I know my opponent has that Lysandre in hand, but I don't think there's anything I can do to prevent the knockouts in the next turn on our Shaymin. So we are just going to let the Pumpkaboo get knocked out. Might as well put it to sleep for good measure. And see what our opponent does. First prize of the game for us. We stay asleep, that's okay. What can we get from the prizes? Anything good? It is an Ultra Ball. Nothing too useful. Opponent promotes the Mew. If we can get a DCE at some point, I will Lysandre out my opponent's Shaymin. Can my opponent find the DCE? He must have a DCE somewhere. He uses an N. Oh my goodness. That is actually good. That is good for us. 2 energies and a Shaymin. Where are our DCEs? Christ's sake. And just an encounter. Now I regret promoting my Jynx actually. He doesn't have the DCE. I cannot believe that. He doesn't have the DCE. Let's power up our other Gulpin. Then let's get out our Ariados and start poisoning this Mew. I don't mind poisoning my Jynx. Well, I could dig for the Escape Rope with my Sycamore. And I think I will do that. I'm going to look for the Escape Rope. There is the Escape Rope and some DCEs. That is really good. We should have one more Swalot in our deck as well. So let's hit the Escape Rope. And let's see what my opponent promotes. Hopefully it is the Joltik. Hopefully it's not the other Mew. Well, we can also knock out the other Mew, but I'd rather knock out the Joltik or the Shaymin. He promotes the other Mew. We shall promote our Swalot and hit for the knockout on the Mew, I think. Let's have a look at our Trainers Mail. We are down to 4 cards. We get the Super Rod. That's really good. Let's shuffle back a Swalot. Let's also shuffle back maybe just a Gulpin and an energy. Don't need anything else, I think. And we shall hit for the knockout right here. This should be a knockout, right? Yeah, 30 times 2 is 60. Yeah, it's definitely a knockout. So we shall hit for the knockout, bring ourselves down to 4 prizes. Bring ourselves up to speed a little bit here. And we have that Lysandre to Lysandre out my opponent's Shaymin. It is a Startling Megaphone. We don't have any more stadiums though, so it won't be a one-hit KO on the Shaymin. There is the Mew from my opponent. Can he find the DCE? He needs to find his DCEs. Is my opponent going to have as much bad luck as we did at the start of the game? Oh my, I won't believe my eyes if we actually manage to pull off this game. I don't think we will, honestly I don't think we will, but I would be so happy if we did. That would be ridiculous. Via Seeker for probably a Sycamore, bringing himself down to 4 cards. It is a Judge. Why does he not use his Sycamore? I don't quite understand. He has one more puzzle somewhere, so he could just Sycamore and then try to find that puzzle, get a knockout, and get the puzzle from the prizes here to get back some DCEs. Acrobike. He must find his DCE now. Fighting Fury Belt on the Joltik, and just a pass of the turn, he didn't find his DCE. I cannot believe it. Well, we are going to deal with the Joltik then. There is no question about it. He has some more Joltik somewhere. He must have some more Joltik somewhere. Well, no, we are going to deal with the Mew. Let's just deal with the Mew first. Or should we deal with the Joltik? I'm going to deal with the Joltik actually. Let's Lysandre out the Joltik. And let's hit for the Swallow Up on the Joltik with our Swalot. Bring ourselves down to 3 prizes. What do we get? We get another Via Seeker. That is good. I can Lysandre out my opponent's Shaymin then. I can Lysandre out the Shaymin and try to stall. That way, force my opponents to attach to the Shaymin. There is his teammate. He's going to find a DCE right now. There's no doubt about it. We will see the DCE at Joltik. And a DCE on the Joltik. Again, I don't know why he attacks with the Joltik instead of the Mew here. I wonder. How many VS Seekers has he used? 3 VS Seekers. We shall promote our Gulpin and evolve into our Swalot. This is our last Swalot. We need to deal with... Actually not. It's... I lied. Never mind. We have one more Gulpin somewhere. Let's see. We can just hit for the KO here, but I need to bench another Swalot. So let's go with an N. And our opponent down to 2 cards and ourselves to 3 cards. I will shuffle back some Sparkling Robes, because I don't want to deck out at any point. So we are going to N, and hopefully we can find our Gulpin as well as an energy for that Gulpin. No Gulpin, we do get 1 energy. How many energies are in the discard pile? 1 mystery. That's actually our last energy, so I cannot use it. Maybe I should have gone for a Lysandre on the Shaymin and tried to... maybe I should have done that instead. Lysandre out the Shaymin and tried to put it to sleep. Okay, so I'll just have to hope that my opponent doesn't find another DCE. We will bring ourselves down to 3 prizes. 2 prizes. I said 3, but I meant 2. And it is a DCE. Okay. This is the moment of truth here. Can my opponent find a DCE? His last DCE. He finds another Joltik. And another N. And for 2 cards. Does he have the DCE? We get the Gulpin. A puzzle of time. That is only 1 puzzle. Oh, actually, that might be 2. He might have 2 puzzles in hand, actually, right now. Because he got the puzzles from the prizes. I know, it's just... puzzles for the top deck, which means we will get a KO here on the Mew. We just need to find a Lysandre right now. DCE. Never mind, I'm just going to attach this DCE to my Gulpin. Then I'm going to hit for the knockout on the Mew with the Poison Gas. Bring ourselves down to 1 prize. And in the next turn we can actually Sky Return on the Joltik and knock out the Joltik that way. We get the Sycamore as well. So we could also power up the Swalot, the last Swalot. Because we have that last energy somewhere. Does my opponent have a VS Seeker? No, just the Sycamore brings himself down to... That is it! We won the game! We won the game against Night March because my opponent couldn't find his DCEs. And that's incredible. He cannot Lysandre out our Shaymin. He could go for... what's that called again? Pokemon Catcher, but I don't think my opponent plays that. So there's a knockout on our Swalots. Do I promote the Gulpin? And the victory. I was gonna promote my Gulpin. I was actually gonna knock it out with my Swalot. Find my last Swalot. Jesus, what an unexpected turn of events this game was. So many missed opportunities for both me and my opponent. We were so slow at the start there. We missed out 3 turns in a row on getting an attack down, and then my opponent missed out on attacking our Pokemon with his Night Marches. He couldn't get his DCEs and he went with the N. I think my opponent made several misplays though. He should not have gone with the Judge. He should have gone with the Sycamore for sure. I think he played way too cautiously, way too... Yeah, cautiously is what is the word, I think. Because he scooped up his Joltik. He tried to preserve his Joltik. He should never have done that. He should have just attacked us with that Joltik. Yeah, I think that was a misplay, and as well his N was a misplay. No, the Judge was a misplay. The N might have been his only option when he played that N, but the Judge was definitely a misplay because he got that with a Lysandre, with a VS Seeker. Should have VS Seeked for Sycamore. Anyways, I'm rambling. Let's take a look at the stats. We dealt 310 damage versus 970 for my opponent. My opponent dealt 3 times as much damage as us. Swalot MVP versus Pumpkaboo. Let's see if we can find ourselves one more opponent for today. Our next opponent is going to be Daniel9214, and thank goodness he plays Shaymin. Oh, he plays Shaymin. Psychic deck with Colorless. Hopefully that is Shaymin. I have been cutting out a trillion, a gazillion, a billion matches. I've been up against 7 decks without Shaymin. I cannot believe how many matches I've had to cut out because they were all decks that didn't play Shaymin, and I want to showcase this deck against a deck of the meta that is at least a bit competitive, to see if we can pull off a win against it like we did against Night March, or to see how we fare against it. But I just kept running into decks that didn't run Shaymin, and that were decks that started out, players that started out, and I cannot do anything with that footage. Nothing against my opponents there, I have nothing against my opponents, don't get me wrong, but it's so much bad luck. Like, nearly all of the decks in the meta right now play Shaymin, and I managed to face 7 opponents which did not have Shaymin in their deck. I mean, that's only on the PTCGO, right? That only happens on the PTCGO. Anyways, rant over. I'm done with my ranting. Let's see what we can pull off here. We get another Gulpin. If this is a Trevenant deck, Espeon could come in handy, possibly. We'll have to see, to prevent my opponent from getting out the Silent Fear Trevenant. Let's click done for now. I'm gonna keep those cards in hand for now. And no, I should have known that it was Alakazam because we saw the bats earlier. We are up against the Deoxys in the active. The Espeon-EX, I don't want to use it against Alakazam actually. So we are going to probably discard the Espeon if we can. Let's get out a Spinarak, which is quite an easy target, so we'll have to be quick here. Then let's also attach DCE to the Gulpin. Bench our Stadium, and then bench our Shaymin so we can draw into 3 cards with our Shaymin. Can we find a Drowzee for our Hypno? No Drowzee, we do get an N, which is excellent. I will go with the N. Unfortunately, that will give my opponent 6 cards, 6 fresh cards. There is an Escape Rope and no draw support in return. We do get the Espeon back. Aha, but we can get another N. Alright, in the next turn all we need to do is find a Psychic Energy. And we should be good to go with our Swalot here. The Deoxys will be a one-hit KO. But then it will be a bit tough here. Gengar Spirit Link, does my opponent have an Alakazam Spirit Link? Or some more bats. We do hit for the one-hit KO against Alakazam, but Alakazam, if it can get going, it is going to be much faster than we are. There is a Jynx. Jynx is going to be very useful against Mega Alakazam. Heal off some of the damage. Then let's see. I could Escape Rope. But into what? No, I don't think I will Escape Rope. Unfortunately, I'll have to give my opponent another new hand. Don't really want to do it, but it's my only option. There is an Energy and the Hypno, which we don't get the Drowzee. I think I will get out the Drowzee with this Ultra Ball. Discards an Energy and the Gulpin. Do we have the Drowzee? We don't have the Drowzee in our deck. How unfortunate. So we will have to go with the Shaymin here and draw into some more cards with our Shaymin. We'll also attach the Sparkling Robe and then try to find something. A VS Seeker, that is good. That is definitely good. So we will hit for the one-hit KO here with our Swallow Up on the Deoxys. In the next turn we might get KO'd ourselves. If my opponent finds a Spirit Link and an Alakazam, that will be a KO on our Swalot. I think my opponent will promote the Zubat. Oh, actually promotes the Gengar. Huh. And that's interesting. A Mystery Energy on the Gengar, so he has Free Retreat and a Golbat. Going to put 20 on our Swalot, I think. Oh, actually puts it on the Jynx. Interesting choice. We cannot heal up that Jynx. So my opponent is going to try to get rid of our Jynx, our healing option. And there is a Crushing Hammer as well as a Max Elixir. Well, that is not a card I would expect into Alakazam, in an Alakazam deck. I'm not sure if that is a good choice for my opponent. And that max elixir. Luckily we have a DCE ready to go. Can we get an Ariados? Or do I have to go with another N? I might have to go with another N here. But my opponent is stuck with a dead hand, so I don't think I will. I will just maybe Escape Rope. No. Let's see, I'll just hit for 50 with the Swallow Up. So that's 100 because of weakness, I think. No, it's actually not 100 because of weakness. Maybe I should have hit for the Poison Gas instead. I thought we were hitting for weakness. Another Golbat. Going to put 20 more on the Jynx. There is a knockout. Yeah, this is going to be a tough battle for us. An uphill battle. Uphill climb against my opponent's deck. A Teamfly Grunt. What kind of deck, what kind of build is that? Hammers, Teamfly Grunt, Max Elixir all in one deck. I'm not sure if I understand my opponent's build. Kinda strange, kinda strange. Puts 30 on the Gulpin on the bench. And maybe 30 more with the Alakazam. My goodness, what an, with the Gengar, what an annoying opponent this is. But he's left without a hand. Night Attack. 30 on that Gulpin. Very, very annoying opponent. Hopefully we can deal with this Alakazam soon here. I'm not going to hit my N. I'm just going to get out a Gulpin and a Spinarak. And wait, just wait and see what happens. We'll hit for the Swallow Up for just 100. In the next turn, that is going to be a knockout. Unless my opponent finds a Crobat, our benched Pokemon should be safe. I just hope he doesn't find any other discarding cards. Spirit Link and a Startling Megaphone, which is okay. We have another Sparkling Robe. Not sure if I will attach it to my Swalot in the active spots. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't understand my opponent's builds. It's a bit of a weird build for a Alakazam deck. 30 on the Swalot, which is a wise choice. We get a Lysandre. Huh. I think I'm going to use this Lysandre in the next turn. For now, let's power up our Gulpin and let's deal with this Gengar. Let's take 2 prizes. In the next turn, I might Lysandre out the Golbat if my opponent doesn't promote it. And deal with that Golbat. We get an Ultra Ball. Finally, we can get out our Ariados. Finally, we'll be able to do that. Our Hypno would have come in handy a lot in this game. Unfortunately, we didn't have the Drowzee, and my opponent promotes the Golbat. Yeah, we could have prevented some damage from the Gengar there. That is why I run Hypno in this deck. But unfortunately, the Drowzee is prized, and it is still in the prizes somewhere. Lysandre from my opponent himself, which is okay, because we have the Escape Rope. We shall Escape Rope right here. Promote our Swalot once again. We'll have to wait and see what my opponent promotes. Probably the Crobat, if I were to guess. I could target this Alakazam, hit for 100 on the Alakazam. Maybe I should. It is the biggest threat on the board. And I think I will actually. I will target the Alakazam. Leave the bats alive. If my opponent manages to promote a new active Pokemon, and it is indeed the Crobat. So we shall Lysandre the Alakazam. And then we can still grab a Lysandre with our VS Seekers here at some point to knock out the Golbat. That's it for the Swallow Up for 100 damage because of weakness. In the next turn, that is going to be a knockout for 200 damage actually. Pretty impressive from our Swalot here against Alakazam. A Crobat comes down, he's going to put 30 on our Swalot and probably will get hit for... Oh no, my opponent doesn't have an energy. I thought the Dimension Valley was in play, but it is not. So our Swalot stays alive, and this is probably GG then. A hit for 100 more. I could have grabbed my Ariados, I know. But there was little point if we are targeting the Alakazam. Alakazam was going to get knocked out anyways, with or without the poison. And just like that, we are down to 1 prize. I think it was a good choice for us not to use our N. Definitely a good choice. I do want to find another Swalot. I want to power up another Swalot. Let's see, let's Ultra Ball away the Hypno and probably the Drowzee. Get out another Swalot. Maybe we can manage to find our Olympia and retreat into the Swalot on our bench. That would be quite a play here. We do not find the Olympia. We get a Sycamore or an Ultra Ball. I will grab the Ultra Ball and get out my Ariados right now. Power up the Swalot on the bench. Let's discard the Lysandre and probably the Stadium. And grab our Ariados. Do I need to use my Super Rods? I could actually Super Rod back the Jynx. But I think I'll hold off for now. We don't have any bench space for it. So we'll hit for the Poisonous Nest. Put some poison on my opponent. And then we'll hit for the Swallow Up for 50. Bring my opponent down to 110 hit points. We are down to 80 hit points. In the next turn my opponent will be down to 90 hit points because of the poison. So just a little bit short. Ooh, Ace Trainer. This might make things interesting here. The Ace Trainer. Sycamore and Startling Megaphone. My opponent needs a Spirit Link. Can he find a Spirit Link for the Alakazam? There's an Energy. And Max Elixir. Yeah, I don't understand the use of the Max Elixir in my opponent's deck. We could get hit for a suppression on both our Swalots. And a Shaymin. Finally we see a Shaymin, but it might be too late because our Swalot will get hit for 30 damage. A Spirit Link. Will we see the Alakazam, or will we just see a retreat, the Mega Alakazam, or will we just see a retreat into Alakazam and hit for, or an attack for the suppression for 30 on both of our Swalots? Even if he does that, this Alakazam is going to go down in 2 hits. It looks like my opponent has a little bit of trouble deciding, and he's actually not going to do anything, which is interesting. We shall discard that Spirit Link. And then I shall use my Super Rod, shuffle back 1 Gulpin, 1 Energy, and the Jynx. If I can target it, there we go. And I think then it's time to go with the N, the Sycamore. What do we get? Another Energy and a Gulpin. I will attach this Mystery Energy, and then I think I'll just hit for the Swallow Up here. Let's not forget to poison our opponent's Crobat. And then go for the Swallow Up for 50 damage. In the next turn we can Lysandre out the Alakazam EX. Or the Golbat on the bench, the Crobat on the bench if my opponent retreats into Alakazam. We could also Lysandre out the Shaymin and try to pull off the Lysandre play, the Shaymin play that I've been talking about in the deck analysis. We have the Stadium in play, we have the Lysandre, we have the Ariados, we have all the pieces of the puzzle, we have a fresh Swalot as well. There is a Pokemon fan club for a Zubat, and that's it. Just a Zubat. Alright, what is my opponent going to do? He needs to retreat here. He needs to attack. An Energy on Shaymin, and another Shaymin comes down, bringing himself down to 21 cards. Huh. Okay, so now he counters the Stadium. We have 2 Stadiums in the discard pile. So that means we need to top deck the Stadium here. Is he attacking with the Crobat? That's GG then. That's GG. I'm not sure why he did that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why my opponent did what he did here. Alright, we get a Trainers Mail. Let's see if we can pull off the Shaymin play. And I think we can. we can just put down our stadium. And we shall Lysandre out to Shaymin, finally get a knockout on Shaymin. And close out the game this way. Wow. That took us long enough to get a knockout on a Shaymin here. We'll poison our own Swalot, but that's okay. We shall hit for the Swallow Up. We could have just knocked out the Crobat as well, but I want to knock out the Shaymin here. And just like that, we took the game against a bit of an odd Alakazam deck build with Gengar and Bats and Max Elixirs, as well as Energy Disruption. I think my opponent needs to find a bit of a tip to my opponent. I think my opponent needs to find some more focus for his deck. It's all well trying to put a bit of everything in there, but that makes his deck less consistent, as we already saw that my opponent had trouble drawing into useful things with his deck. Oftentimes he used a supporter which was not a draw supporter, and typically that is not what you want to do in the current format. You want to use your draw supporter unless you have a very good reason not to use it, like a Lysandre. It's typically quite a good reason. If you can get a knockout with a Lysandre and get 2 prizes versus 1 prize for yourself, versus 1 prize for your opponent, then you should definitely do that. But otherwise, typically you'll want to go with the draw supporter. So let's have a look at the stats. 950 damage dealt versus 250 for my opponent. Swalot MVP versus Crobat EX. And that is going to be it for today. It was fun for sure, except for the times where I couldn't find Shaymin or find an opponent which played Shaymin. Nah, I'm fine. I'm kidding. I'm not too serious here. You don't need to take me too serious. It's just a game and I had fun with it. And I will see you on Monday tomorrow with a Meta Monday episode. Not sure yet which deck is going to be, so it's a surprise for you as well as for me. I hope you have a truly cardtastic day. I hope you have lots of luck in the PTCGO, and I will see you tomorrow.
Karp, 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 Karp.